the pace at which technology changes today. We cannot look back at the Cold War and pull that playbook out to win. We're going to need a new one for this day and age. It's a time of unprecedented technological change. We're competing against peers. Those two things should give us pause. We have a very different type of adversary, one that can match us, one that can build systems that are commensurate with ours, ones that can counter systems that we use today.
Today's Air Force has an enormous challenge. The rules of the game have changed.
So just by showing up, we had dominance of the airspace. Just from day one, just by our presence there. That's no longer the case. When you look to see what peer adversaries are doing across the world, it's scary.
You know, there's really no silver medal. There will be no podium spot for having the world's second best Air Force. We have to supercharge our acquisition engine. Nothing else matters if we are slower than the opponent.
Acquisitions. It covers anything the Air Force needs to buy, from jets to weapon systems to operating systems. But traditionally, it's been a slow process. And because technology can change daily, the speed with which the Air Force acquires anything has a direct impact on the ability to win wars. One of the ways to speed things up is by looking at success stories from civilian industry.
It's essentially adapting the best that we've seen from Silicon Valley kind of startup mentality, but applying that to Department of Defense.
The Air Force, taking a lesson from industry, partnered with Techstars, a company that specializes in advancing startups and making them profitable. They offer a boot camp of sorts that prepares startups to pitch their solutions to an audience of industry investors, venture capitalists, and the U.S. Air Force. It's that startup mentality the Air Force is adopting, so they not only develop technologies faster, but can make purchases faster as well.
In the Air Force's case, the Air Force decided that they wanted to gain more access to startup companies than they currently had. And they also wanted to retrain themselves how to buy products from small startup companies and commercial off-the-shelf product companies without forcing the company to become a defense contractor.
The goal is to make the acquisitions process quicker and more flexible with the ability to make changes at any point in development. It's a streamlined approach, which is one reason why the Air Force has started hosting pitch days, where entrepreneurs are invited to present solutions to Air Force problems with the chance of getting signed on the spot.
We were able to put folks on contract that day. I think our record was 3 minutes. That's the Air Force, right? Not specifically just AFWERX, but the Air Force looking at the entrepreneurial community and establishing contracts in minutes, where that used to be months, right, beforehand.
Shortening that timeline to sign a contract from months to minutes is possible because Congress recognized a need for speed. The National Defense Authorization Act is approved by Congress and signed by the President. Section 804 covers acquisition programs that can be completed in up to 5 years. It lays out guidelines for streamlined acquisitions, but it's not the only option the Air Force has to speed things up.
You know, going from essentially idea to having a contract agreement at the end of the fiscal year in a few months was something that was unheard of before.
When the Air Force was looking to modernize their IT or information technology infrastructure, Air Force Materiel Command leaned on other transaction authorities under United States Code. Other transaction authorities offer government agencies the flexibility to incorporate industry standard solutions from non-traditional defense contractors. The Materiel Command is using this authority to conduct a risk reduction effort on the feasibility of acquiring innovative and agile services through a program called Enterprise IT as a Service, or EITaaS.
The concept of EITaaS, bringing a commercialized network solution and all of the different lines of effort that go along with EITaaS, is supposed to bring us into the digital Air Force of the future. And so what that means is we now have the capability to have that cyber platform which enables multi-domain operations, including multi-domain command and control.
Another benefit of contracting IT services is it allows airmen to refocus on the core mission of assurance in cyberspace.
You're going to see that we have those airmen who used to be doing some network and end user devices type jobs are able to be freed up and given back to the warfighting mission.
It's one example of how the Air Force is speeding up the acquisition process, developing new ideas. It's also affecting the bottom line.
And over the past year, we've seen over $15 billion in savings from getting competition right. That's smart. $15 billion is another program or two. So getting things smart stretches our dollars and lets us do more to compete and win. I don't know where this is going, but I see the potential for big savings and sustainment, enough that potentially we can afford that big idea pipeline. 70% of our budget in sustainment, if we only saw 5 to 10% savings, that's a lot of high-tech prototyping.
Increasing capabilities, acquiring solutions, saving money wherever possible. All results of a supercharged acquisition process.
At the end of the day, our number one requirement, if I can put it that way, is to win. And the way that we win is by delivering capabilities when they're needed and how they're needed, and to not be so stuck in our traditional way of thinking of things and being so risk averse.
You know, we are getting faster, and I want our calling card to be the speed at which we can deliver new capabilities. That's the delineator that'll make us win.